My name is Isabel Ladd of Isabel Ladd Interiors, and I am based in Lexington, Kentucky. People would describe my work as explosive, electric, vibrant, saturated, and curated. I was given the patio. I'm Brazilian, so outdoor spaces is in my blood. It is who I am. When I started this space, I wanted it to read like a Brazilian carnival. Here we have this lounge area, which doubles as my afternoon outdoor nap nook. I've got linens, and then in this basket with a duvet cover and a pillow and a robe. I created a dining moment here, which is just layered with a whole lot of pattern. I love trim. One of my favorite design philosophies is more is more. See this fabric here as the wallpaper? I have repeated it as the seat cushions, and you see it again as pillow cushions on the day bed. So welcome to my Kiki. It was inspired by a Scissor Sisters song. A Kiki is just a very small, intimate gathering where you would like spill the tea. I painted a gray floor with this design that was inspired by a fabric that I used to upholster the inside of the canoe. I took the quartz, I cut a hole in the middle, and then I had a Kohler sink dropped in here, and then you can just like fill it with your beverages. Think of like a fire pit, but just substitute logs for rosé.
Welcome to this year's Kips Bay Dallas Showhouse. Every room in this showhouse is created by a different designer across the country. My name is Jean. I'm with Jean Lou Design. We're an interior design studio based out of Dallas, Texas. We would consider ourselves a studio that focuses on modern, warm, elegant, and sophisticated interiors. We are doing the entry for this year's showhouse. In the entry, we really wanted to focus on the walls and the ceilings. We have incorporated a fluted white oak paneling that we have capped in brass laminate and carried that all throughout as a way to bring a little bit of modernity to a house that is somewhat classical and traditional in architecture. Doing oak paneling in this entryway was a really wonderful way to establish a warm feeling upon entering this new space. The house is actually quite large and it has double height ceilings, and so we felt like the wood would actually make it feel more inviting upon arrival. We have created a space that is warm and modern and reflects the lifestyles of somebody who would live in Dallas today.
I'm Jeffrey Weissman. I'm from Fisher Weissman Brugioni in San Francisco and Fisher Weissman Collection, which here in Dallas is at Holland and Cherry. We design so much of the furniture and lighting that goes into our houses that they have a little bit of a unique twist every time, and they look like something we did because we create them, like making a chandelier 6 feet tall for this dining room. We designed the dining room for Kips Bay this year, and our challenge was it's a relatively small room in a very large house with a tall ceiling, and it's completely open to the rest of the house. So how do you make it intimate and rich and seductive? We went with a deep color, this red everywhere, overscaled chandelier with pendants we added in the corners over pedestals to create the perfect spot for flowers. My partner Andrew Fisher did these amazing canvases to give a real wow impact when you walk in the front door. We wanted to show something that was less traditional in this house to give it a little bit of a youthful edge. And these fixtures, I would say they're as close to mid-century modern as Fisher Weissman gets, but we wrap all of our metalwork in paper mache before it's gilded, so it has this very soft, handcrafted feel. And I love the geometry of the cubes and the glittering finish with the soft matte red walls. It seemed sad to us to have a conventional rectangular table, so we designed these bases, found this amazing slab of Rosso Lepanto marble, and love how the oval sitting on this custom oval carpet that we designed floats in the space.
My name is Christopher Peacock. My company is called Christopher Peacock. Our work is very classic, very timeless. I'm very much about long-term quality, something which lasts forever. In this project, we're featuring a kitchen, a butler's pantry and a walk-in pantry. But as a company, we do a lot more than that. We do beautiful dressing rooms and fitted bathrooms and libraries and paneled rooms and mud rooms and pretty much you name it, any fitted cabinetry, we do it, and we go all over the world. The kitchen is large, which means that we had to have an area which is really for food preparation, but then also an area for entertaining. As well as this, there are two other areas, a butler's pantry and the other one is a walk-in food pantry. And the three of them work together to become the kitchen suite. The butler's pantry is more formal and it's a staging area for serving to the main dining room. And then we have a walk-in pantry, which is just wonderful. It's like a cabinet for a Costco king. It's a very large kitchen, and one of the things that I was concerned about is that it felt too sterile. I used a lot of different textures and colors and materials. With the cabinetry itself, I've really featured three different finishes. We have a dark charcoal paint on the lower cabinetry with a lighter white paint on the upper cabinets, but then all of that is juxtaposed against this bleached oak. The backsplash is by Artistic Tile. It's wonderful. It's a hand-cut mosaic tile. In the butler's pantry, I've also been fortunate to feature a brand new tile by Artistic Tile, which is called Martello. Stone tile, which is wrapped in brass and then hand hammered. I think it's the first time it's been seen. The countertops are by Cambria. It's an incredible material, handmade, indestructible, and I really love the fact that I could get a large slab in one piece of something which is very monochromatic and not too shiny.
My name's Anthony Barada, and my firm is Anthony Barada LLC. I design the study in the English style. My work is kind of known for this bold use of color, a big scale, a curated collection of antique furnishings. They always have a big American flavor to them. I always like to make these rooms a little more masculine with touches of feminine things like florals, this use of the plaid walls and these beautiful fabrics that make for a special kind of cozy interior. I did a lot of work like this in the early 90s in the English style. So I revisited that work. I also feel like there's such interest in everything British now. Royalty, in movies, in television. You know, it was the same thing in the early 90s with Merchant Ivory films. I am totally interested in a wide range of antique furniture from all different periods. And this one sort of celebrates kind of high style English furniture.
My name is Natasha Baradaran. I'm an interior designer based out of Los Angeles. I also have a furniture and textile collection, and I think I try and create designs that are refined and sophisticated and at the same time livable and approachable. I designed the primary bedroom of the showcase house. It's a really large room that we really tried to create something that felt serene and tranquil. I started knowing that I wanted to use our jamba fabric out of my collection. We created a white cocoon over this violet, blue, and white wall covering, which I think makes the space a little bit more intimate and cozy. Window treatment is a drapery that the Shade Store did for us that is a combination of mohair and wool that's almost like a boucle in a sheer. We wanted to create a space that someone would be able to practice their meditation in their primary bedroom by incorporating rose quartz as a material and rock crystal in the sconces. And it's just really about complementing what else is here and really feeling clean and fresh. And that's also why I believe that having two different sitting groups in such a large room was very helpful. We designed this circular sofa, but it doesn't feel like it's cluttered with furniture. There's still a really light feeling about it. I feel like you can be feminine and very strong and bold in your life, and I try to create a space that reflects that.
I'm Huma Suleiman. The name of my firm is Huma Suleiman Design. I would say our work is global eclectic, modern with a touch of antiquity and Art Deco. We're in California and we work in a lot of different ranges of homes, beach homes, by the canyon, in the valleys. So we have a beautiful, vast array of different architecture and landscape that we work on. When I found out we were going to do the gentleman's closet, I wanted something dark and moody and sexy. We have a little bar area. We also call it the shaken not stirred, kind of James Bondy, black caviar from Benjamin Moore on the walls, which I am completely in love with. We picked a beautiful black midnight color from Container Store, and it's their Preston collection. It's very modern, it's clean, and I kept the hardware super dark as well. We do like colors in our space, so we added this beautiful saffron rug that we designed with the rug company. They nailed the color. I just love it, how it turned out. Photography by J. Leo, and it's called La Tigre en chasse, meaning the tigress in chase. And a Bugatti Atlantic Noir, that's right underneath that. I could also use that space. It doesn't have to be for a gentleman.
I'm Byron Risden of Byron Risden LLC, and I'm based out of Washington, D.C. People describe my taste as classic and timeless, the mix of modern and classic pieces together. I love vintage furniture, so there's always a little something old mixed in with the new. I'm in Terrace 107, which is the North Terrace. So one of the goals I wanted to achieve in creating this space was to bring the indoors out. I wanted to create a livable, comfortable environment that was inviting, that felt warm, a place that you could hang out in. It's such a large space, I wanted to be able to break it up in a way that felt natural, that felt comfortable, but that also created different areas for you to enjoy. The main seating area by the fireplace, we have 2 large sofas and 2 really comfortable club chairs. There's a dining area with an outdoor kitchen. We have a little nook in the corner with a day bed, and additionally at the bottom of the steps we have another lounge seating area. I chose a lot of the fabrics from Perennials because they have great outdoor fabrics. They have a huge selection and they hold up well in the weather. A lot of ceramics, a lot of metal, a lot of stone, and I just played around with the pattern and the colors with those as I normally would in an indoor space.
I'm Noel Pittman. I am one of the designers at this year's Kips Showhouse, and I am based in Dallas. I really like to create spaces that are fresh, but also sort of traditional, and having them be comfortable and inviting is really important to me. I bring a lot of California influence. Timeless is a word that comes to mind with my designs. If someone owns some antiques from their family, I think that's really special because I like the places to really reflect the owners and be unique. I love wicker, I love rattan, and I like deep creamy whites. So those are things you'll find a lot, but I really vary based on the client and the house. This is the laundry room. I started with thinking about function. What do you need in a laundry room, which is a lot of storage, accessibility to high storage. We have these great high ceilings. And this room has a window, so I really wanted to make a nice place to sit because there's a beautiful yard, so I thought it would be nice to have a place to look out. So once I kind of did the layout and figured out the cabinets and how it was all going to work in terms of aesthetics, I think that utility spaces are really an opportunity to be beautiful also. I think people associate laundry with a chore, so I wanted somewhere that's inviting and that you'd want to be. I saw these antique Colfax and Fowler lanterns and I thought that they were just amazing. I used Chatsworth Cream by Benjamin Moore, so it would be fresh but not blinding. One of my favorite elements I think is the library ladder. It was a way to take advantage of the tall ceiling heights and access upper storage without having a clunky, unattractive ladder to contend with. And another thing that I really love is the grill in the gathered curtain fabric. It says a Schumacher check behind it. I think it's a really nice way to add texture and to incorporate pattern and fabric without sacrificing storage space. It reflects me, which was important to me, and most of all, I think it's functional for someone who needs to do laundry. The washer and dryer are disguised, but they work.
Welcome to the 6th annual Kips Bay Showhouse, benefiting the Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club and the Boys and Girls Club of Palm Beach County. So we have 21 designers that have all created spaces here for everyone to see. I'm Philip Vanderford with the Studio Thomas James. We're based out of Dallas, Texas, and while a majority of our work is in the Dallas area, we travel all over the United States and have done projects across the world. A lot of the designers, if you look at our work, it's extremely diverse. So our work is a lot about pulling essentially the essence of the client into the project rather than doing a pre-described style. You're always going to find the mixture of old and new, and you're always going to find the items that tell a story. Our room is named the White Lotus after the popular 2022 television show that we have all loved. And so we kind of really just wanted to lean into that. We used New Burgundy London by Benjamin Moore and used that and had Portatello create a custom patterned wallpaper for us in these rich kind of burgundy and pink black tones. A Baker Venetian glass chandelier. And so we used a lot of those little Italian moments. I'm actually sitting on a Memphis style Italian bench. So I collaborated with Stark on the rug. And this was out of their new collection that was actually launched this year. And I wanted something fairly simple that was really grounding to the space. We did this custom sawtooth design on the rug. I had gotten the alligator from Schumacher, and it has the little sort of like the teeth idea. And so that was kind of a little playful moment that we had in the space. You really end up with a space that's layered, the best of the old, the best of the new. I think you get sort of a grand moment, and I think you're getting a lot of like luxury and depth.
I'm Amanda Lindroth, and I'm Amanda Lindroth Design. I design a huge amount of projects in the tropics, and so I'm known for these sort of classical, tropical, timeless designs. My original office is in Nassau, Bahamas. You'll always find in my projects rattan, natural fiber rugs, usually linen curtains with a little tape or trim on them, white upholstery, printed, block printed fabrics and screen printed fabrics. We were given this incredibly epic, monumental room, and we really thought it was an opportunity to do something of magnitude. So we really started with the walls. We have these beautiful books in our office in Nassau that have motifs and decoration of India. And we knew we wanted to stencil these walls to give them some age and to give them some interest. In a room this size, we decided to really hand paint the walls. And these Benjamin Moore colors that we used are 3 different colors, 2 greens, 1 Catalina. And then this trellis above, we played with the colors. The motif below of that vase of Indian flowers is with purpose and intent, done in a very dégradé way so that it looks a little old and imperfect. We wanted a level of imperfection. Our great painter, Brian Lieber, came from East Hampton, and he's done this for us before in the Bahamas. The fireplace was really grand, not so much in a good way, and so we had to think of some way to conquer this really out of scale, quite disproportionate bit of architecture. Paul Axelbrand, who's so cheerful and helpful, came to paint this tortoiseshell finish. He sort of copied what would be a tortoiseshell jewelry box with a bone inlay. Because we didn't have time to get a gigantic Durley rug made in India, we decided to make one ourselves with this huge, giant sisal rug, which Stark Carpeting very kindly pieced together for us. We literally had to paint the stripes on the rug to get it to work. It was a big challenge, and we're pretty proud of it. All rooms need old things. They need brown things. They need things that smell good. They need live things, plants.
My name is Christopher Peacock. I am the owner of a company called Christopher Peacock, and we are a cabinet company that do fitted cabinetry for every room, and we do work throughout the United States and in fact all over the world. We're known for very well-made, very tailored cabinetry. Hardware is a very important part of my process. When I design these collections, I often start with inspiration of a piece of hardware, and from that I will then build a collection of cabinetry around it. My inspiration really was to make something which is not necessarily too Palm Beachy, quite sophisticated. We've got a mix of tone-on-tone colors of grays and taupes and beige colors, bleached wood and stained gray wood. So this collection is called the Montauk collection, and again, it's really defined by the style of the cabinetry doors and the hardware and the open shelving. It's a very clean and crisp sort of feel. It's not too detailed. It works well, and it's a very livable space. I inherited a coffered ceiling, which I was able to paint in a beautiful avocado green and white to sort of pull those colors. And then I use this horizontal linear wall covering to really sort of shrink the height of the room visually and make it just a more welcoming space. Obviously the kitchen is very beautiful, but it also has to be functional. So there are a lot of features inside the cabinetry which make it that way. You know, with this cooking area, obviously when you're cooking you need to have room for utensils, and so we've divided these drawers up so that you have good organizational storage, but it's not so organized that you can't throw a bunch of stuff in there. We've divided this up for cutlery and flatware. These can be made to any size or shape depending on your cutlery needs. And then similarly over here we've put some spices in here, so we have these little lovely spice bottles that go in, and you could literally probably get 70 or 80 spice bottles in there of different sizes and shapes, so that works really well for us. Similarly, even here on our trash can we put a metal cap on the top of the door just to stop it from getting damaged when people throw things in, so it's a nice touch. And when it's closed, you can sort of see where the trash can is in front of it. Here we have a knife block. This is again custom made for us, but it's a knife block where you can organize all of your different kinds of cutting knives. Roll-out storage for pots and pans, which is wonderful. It's the easiest way to get to them. But even this attention to detail is important, so I've made these lovely little brushed stainless steel metal handles just to be able to grab that and pull it out. As you can see, the drawers all self-close. Every piece of cabinetry we make is built like a piece of furniture and is made for somebody. So nothing is pre-made, there's no preconceived ideas. And in this case, I think we were able to really tailor it to suit the space.
I am Billy Seglia. My design firm name is Billy Seglia Designs, and we're based in New York and Palm Beach. I would describe my work as traditional with a twist. One of my design credos is trying to make the biggest impact with the fewest amount of ingredients. Limited color palettes, fabric schemes, furniture shapes, and we usually go wild in accessories. My Kips-based space is the covered loggia and pool terrace overlooking Lake Worth and the island of Palm Beach. The biggest challenge was that it's an outdoor space. You have to lean into strong color stories, or in my case, lack of color story. My initial starting point for the project was the spectacular view and how to best enhance it, because I knew that there was no way that I was ever going to compete with it. We chose a very crisp all-white color scheme using iconic products from Brown Jordan Outdoor Furniture. The main component in the space is their Calcutta collection, which is the most iconic Brown Jordan collection. Bamboo accents in a chinoiserie design. And again, we did it in white powder coat, so it modernizes it. This is the iconic Calcutta dining chair from Brown Jordan, which we've done in a powder-coated white finish and a white suncloth seat cushion. So it's easy to hose off if it gets mucky, and the seat cushion is cleanable with bleach if you have sloppy friends who spill red wine. Most outdoor furniture companies give you little ties that everyone ties into a sloppy bow, but here we have these beautiful stainless steel snaps. The most fun and most noticed piece in my space are the giant tall agave plants.
My name is Enea White of Enea White Interiors. We are based in Tribeca, Manhattan, New York, and we do work in the city, Brooklyn, all of the boroughs, Long Island, and the Hamptons. We are typically described as charming, whimsical, modern, fun, lighthearted. You will always find a bit of pink in our projects. We always tell clients, you know, you have to spend a lot of time here. Don't worry about trends. Spend money on things that will last, you know, make decisions that make sense, and then make sure it's warm, it's encouraging, and it feels like a hug. We really just started with a theme, modern romance, and we started with florals, which is really on trend right now. We started with green, which is really on trend right now, and everything developed from there. So as New York designers, we have to work in very tight spaces. And if you look at this room on a footprint level, it's really just 2 windows and enough space in between for a full-size bed. So we said, okay, well, how do we bring in character? So we designed this custom cabana style bed that you see me sitting in right now, and never looked back. We are millwork queens, so New Yorkers, they have no space ever, so we're always having to find really cool, interesting ways to add storage. So why just get a bed when you can build a bed that has 8 lights built into it, and you could potentially put storage below, or it could lift up and you could have storage there. So just being really crafty, and that's our thing. All of the paint you see here is Benjamin Moore. One of my favorites is this Prescott green, and we love combining kind of like starburst colors. So we did a green, we did a purple, we did this kind of French vanilla, and we have pink too. Welcome to our modern romance bathroom. We created all of the romantic and whimsical details we were going for, starting with this artistic tile, Rosa. This just came out. We thought it was so whimsical. It's lighthearted, it's fun, it's feminine. And then on the floor, it's kind of a spin of what the typical terrazzo tile would be. And this is also artistic tile, Giazzo is the name. Love. And then this super romantic, kind of a blast from the past play on plumbing fixtures from Kohler really made our space. I'm in love with it. Welcome to this dressing room. The whole concept was you just took a bath or you're getting dressed and you kind of need somewhere to either do your makeup. We brought in this really fun saturated wallpaper from House of Hackney. We had this console table refinished in this really cool green, and everyone lives for a selfie moment. So this super oversized modern mirror from Artistic perfectly just amplifies our fixtures above, also lighthearted and feminine. Peacocks are really fun and kind of unexpected. They're super heavy from Nest Hardware, and this is just a storage closet, but instead of ignoring it, we just brought it into the rest of our design. Wallpapered the doors, highlighted everything with this trim, and then added these really cool, we should probably give them a name, like Harry and like Morty or something.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mabley of Mabley Handler Interior Design. I think in the Hamptons, definitely sort of a beach chic. It's been the buzzwords that have come around over the years. We've been out there for 20 years, so our look has really evolved. And now we're in New York. We're doing a little more sophisticated apartments, got renovations of Park Avenue apartments. We had the ability to do 3 spaces in our guest suite. The main bedroom, the launching point was this incredible wallpaper. You can probably see a little bit behind me. This is a hand-painted mural from Gracie. It's all custom for the room. We loved the metallic melon background. It gave it that sort of Palm Beach sunset feel. And then sort of matte color palm trees and birds that it's sort of like a modern matte finish. We did a lot of mix and heritage pieces mixed with modern silhouettes. So the fabrics sort of tell the story of where we are, whether it's a corally velvet that I'm sitting on or a leafy deco print on the sofa. So everything has a muted, complementary tone, but then we popped it with a few sort of brighter corally pinks. The bathroom was really exciting because it was like, all bets were off. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna show Palm Beach? It's not gonna be all white. It's not gonna be pink and green. So we picked actually a porcelain slab that looks like Arabescato marble, and we honed it. Nobody can believe it's porcelain, and we did a waterfall effect that is incredible from the back of the shower to the tub surround to the floor. And then we used an incredible deco print wallpaper that was very graphic, very Palm Beach, a little retro. We wanted to make sure that the ceiling didn't have a cliche feel of trellis. We wanted to be sophisticated. So the scale of the trellis was really critical. And then we have this coffered ceiling effect, which divides it. The paint color on the trellis is a beautiful, soft sage green from Benjamin Moore. It complements the wallpaper beautifully, and it's very serene. After all, it is a bedroom.
I'm Katie Gutierrez. This is Ruben Gutierrez. We're from Eras Design, based in Miami, Florida.
We have projects all around South Florida and beyond. We've had clients take us to different states and even out of the country.
We are really known for our design philosophy we call biographical design. It's a philosophy and a signature system of the way that we work, wherein we uncover someone's biography, and then we take their biography and we turn it into space making.
This is the guest wing of the house. It's got 2 guest rooms. But before you get there, you go up these stairs, and it's a secondary stairs, and then it has this landing bar area. So it's almost like a foyer to the 2 bedrooms that are adjoining. And it's a place where someone could come, set their stuff down, have a drink.
The design inspiration for this room was inspired by Henry Flagler. So the house is situated on Flagler Street, and it's named after Henry Flagler, who was a big influencer in Palm Beach, sort of becoming a city.
Henry Flagler was a big art collector, so we put in all contemporary art. We also used vintage art. We used local craftsmen to do shell art. There's an antique rug, an Art Deco settee, pillows from all different places in the world with a wider range of fabrics. This is a berry color from Benjamin Moore, and we really wanted the room to have that saturated color. We used it in a high gloss to kind of make it a jewel effect, but it is just intended to make it feel like a warm hug when you walk in here.
I'm Erica Belseaworth.
I'm Ellen Hamilton.
We're the co-founders and co-chairs of the Brooklyn Heights Designer Showhouse. We bring in young, vibrant Brooklyn designers,
as well as so many of the fantastic makers that we are privileged to have working with us here in Brooklyn.
A showhouse is a combination of love of the past, beautiful architecture, beautiful neighborhood, and an excitement about the future.
Hi, I'm Mike Rupp, the owner of Rupp Studio, and I'm based in New York City. People hire me because of the personal experience that they get. Layering of materials and textures. I like disparate periods mixed together so it feels timeless. Today we are at the Brooklyn Heights Designer Showhouse. I wanted to create a visual, impactful experience. I wanted something broody and romantic. I started with a decorative painter, Mark Chamberlain, and he says to me, well, it sounds like you're designing a room for a James Bond villain, but I actually think it's a James Bond villainess. I'm seeing some tough CEO, woman at the top who comes home after a hard day of work, makes herself a Negroni, and just lounges on the daybed to decompress. I did inherit this beautiful millwork behind me. Having open shelves does provide its own challenges. You have to get all these little pieces that kind of tell the story. And I wanted to add a dimension to it by this burnished lime wash. It creates a depth, an intrigue, sort of a dreamy mist, if you will. And then with the ceiling, I wanted to create something reflective. The first thing I notice when I walk into the room, and I want it to be the centerpiece of the room, is this coffee table, this Laverne coffee table, which to me represents all the principles of like a Rupp Studio feature, which is like that hand feel, that history, that soul. Surrounding that, this Otto Scholl's vintage sofa. Near the window is Biedermeier daybed. And then as the eye continues to wander, you have this purple, seductive, like sinuous mid-century chair contrasted with a modern barrel that's encased in resin. Lastly, as you continue around the room, is this Maison Janssen secretary, which is so bold and masculine, juxtaposed with this uber-modern sculpture. There's this feeling of being enveloped and like commanded to feel something in this dreamlike, brooding, romantic space.
Hi, I'm Michael Ingui from Baxtingui Architects, based in New York City. Baxtingui is unique in that we love to work integrally with our interior design staff, all working in unison, collaboratively. We've combined efforts with a number of people, including Flair Construction, on this wonderful kitchen. One of the biggest things we've done in the space is remove the wall that separated the kitchen from the dining room. We were able to do everything from new floors, these are from Hudson, and we were able to really kind of open up the space and create one large space for how people live today. We have interior design in the office, so we're able to both combine spatial and finishes all into one cohesive design element.
I'm Megan Lakey, and I am from Baxtingui Architects and BIA Interiors. We don't have a lot of natural light, so we wanted to bring in a lot of lighting, a lot of accents, and make it feel really warm and cozy. We wanted to use the sense of color, introducing a bunch of textures. The countertop from Walker Zanger was a huge part in that because of the leather finish, and you can feel all the veining inside. You can see a bunch of curves throughout the space, including, the hardware from Elegance and Hardware, the round shape of the table that we custom made through wood furniture. The lighting is from Circa Lighting, and that also has the circular motifs that we were bringing in. Window treatments are from Woven. The texture of that was just kind of giving us a little bit of movement in here. Woven was great to work with, and the product is really high quality product. Within townhouses, you need something that's really traditional looking and functions well. Another main accent of the space is custom leaded glass that we made with Sunburst Studios. And again, we introduced the circular motifs, kind of an iridescent glass, a frosted glass in there as well. On the opposite wall, we created a wet bar, and then we did a open shelf, also incorporates lighting inside. The intent for the space was to embrace the warm, comfy, inviting feeling that we were trying to convey.
My name is Jenna Chusid. I'm based in Brooklyn, New York, and my company is Chusid & Co. I have an affinity for unique finds, vintage finds, antique art, so I try to incorporate a lot of that into my interiors. I like soft colors and deep saturated colors. This portrait from the 30s had this beautiful green background, and the woman was in a deep burgundy dress, and that really inspired sort of the basic palette for where I started. I tried to choose a color for the wall that was more of a neutral, so it's a very, very pale pistachio, and I did it in a high gloss lacquer, which made it even more neutral. Then I tried to choose colors in the furnishings that were deep and rich, like this burgundy serpentine sofa, and then had a custom table made behind it that mirrored the curvature of the sofa, so then I had a place to put light. I always incorporate lots of stools and things that can be pulled up when you have guests. I found this carton at an estate sale in the corner in pieces. They pieced it back together, and it turns out this house was built in 1899, so at the same time this house was being built, this was being painted in Charles M. Schwab's dining room. This cabinet is from an estate. They were the perfect thing to put in this corner because it hides an old pipe and the curve allows people to sort of walk through. So I love this piece. This is by one of my favorite lighting designers, Paul Matter. It's called the God Sconce, and it goes with the Goddess Sconce. They are alternating, intersecting lights. This room was inspired by some of the art I found from the 30s. I have a knack of putting things together from different eras that doesn't feel forced. I make it all harmonious.
I'm Jenny Kirshner of JDK Interiors. I think the clients typically hire me because I have a very meticulous, keen eye for color, for styling, incorporating unique architectural elements into a space in a meaningful way. Every room needs to have a really great sense of flow and spatial quality. I do not believe in going with trends. I believe in going with what you feel inside, what makes you happy. The meaning of this room was really just to evoke pure happiness and joy. So I walked into the house, stumbled upon this room that had amazing light, but 7-foot ceilings. And I said, this room could be very special. One of the most unique and special elements in this space are the murals on the wall and the ceiling. And they were painted by a fabulous artist whose name is Adam Sultan. And he envisioned this wall as being forest and trees, this wall here as being the earth, and he envisioned the last wall as being water. The ceiling is representative of the sky, and I wanted a piece that would be this central point within the yellow center of the ceiling. It feels so perfect to me, it's perfection. At Brimfield, at the Antiques Festival this past year, I always have one special find there every year. This was it. Once we saw the whole space put together, I just thought, this has to be here. My kids love it. This is a kid's bedroom. I love the lamp. Every child has toys, lots of toys, and you need storage for those toys. These are IKEA units that I have used for so many years, and there's so many wonderful ways to make them look fun and exciting in a space. And I doctored this one up with a mirrored acrylic surface that was custom cut, relatively inexpensive. My kids and I painted this plant cover. The headboard design came from the inspiration of imperfection. Children are not perfect, and that can be very beautiful and special. I even applied different textiles to each headboard panel. This is the workstation or the art station, giving them just different art supplies and they can just create. It's daring, it's joyful, it's cheerful, it's a happy space. People walk in here and they immediately get a smile on their face, and I feel exactly the same way.
Hi, I'm Tara McCauley of Tara McCauley LLC. I'm an interior designer based in downtown Manhattan. I like to take a storytelling approach to interior design. I like to incorporate elements of history, art history or fashion history, even a client's personal history, things that are sentimental to them. I was assigned the primary bedroom, and I incorporated a lot of elements from the Surrealist art movement, one of which is the trompe l'oeil effect that you will see here on this amazing Vutsa wallpaper. It's meant to look like draped fabric panels. Cast pieces by my friend cellist Baird, who's based in New York. I found this beautiful plaster pendant light from one of my favorite dealers in New York, Liz O'Brien. And I love how it speaks to the plaster artwork on the wall. I looked to Elsa Schiaparelli, who was a fashion designer who collaborated with a lot of the great surrealists. On this desk chair, I paid tribute to her collaboration with Salvador Dali. She designed a gown in an ivory silk satin that he painted a lobster on. Elsa Schiaparelli was known for her signature color, shocking pink. Thomas Engelhardt, who was a fashion designer in Paris for the past few decades, is now a designer of mirrors and other household objects. He did this completely custom for the show house. The eye motif sort of picks up on my anthropomorphic theme. The wallpaper is actually a black moire silk that's paper-backed from Schumacher. I was inspired by a gown with an applique of two hands holding up a trompe-l'oeil necklace. And then we'd have a moment of shocking pink. The bed is actually upholstered in a Pierre Frey fabric that is based off of the neoclassical architecture of Paris, where surrealism proliferated. This piece is by Sean Gersley. The gallery is called Superhouse. It's actually so bold in this space. I loved how it popped against the black. This is a Gaetano Pesce vase. I found this amazing Tony Duquette edition sunburst fixture from Remains Lighting. I wanted to make almost a fantasy dressing room that maybe Elsa Schiaparelli would like to get ready in. I actually have a few vintage Schiaparelli pieces from my own collection in here. She had actually designed a perfume called Sleeping. So I actually got a tiny vial of it on eBay. It smells like amber, which is my favorite scent personally. I found these amazing chairs from Munder Skiles, which I think do the trick. In a primary bedroom, you're not going to be entertaining so many people that you need an outdoor sofa. This table is incorporating the trompe-l'oeil draped effect that ties in with the hallway. I always look to fashion, art history, and travel, which are incorporated throughout the space.
My name is Amy Studebaker. I am based out of St. Louis, Missouri, and our firm is Amy Studebaker Design. I am most known for our use of color and texture and mixing old and new. In all of my projects, you're going to find something with history and something that is fresh spanking new out of the factory, because I love bringing in that historical factor and interest from a vintage piece, an antique piece, something mid-century, because again, like I feel like when you bring those new and old items together, it really creates a warm space. We were just given this guest bedroom. A couple days later, we found out that we actually inherited a hallway as well, which we were so thrilled about because it gave us this grand entrance to our space. My first step to creating our room was really, of course, the layout and the function of the space. It was technically a guest bedroom, but I didn't want it to be just a bedroom. I wanted to be able to make it a multifunctional space. So with all of this natural light that we have in here, I really felt like it was a great place for resting, relaxing, whether that's on a bed or on a sofa, being able to set your book down on a cocktail table, have lots of light. I find something that inspires me. That's my very first step. I don't have any preconceived ideas. So I was inspired by the Lissou Rose by Sewn Britain, and it's actually a textile which we utilized on our wall by backing it and making it a wallpaper, and then also creating window treatments out of it so that we could really envelop ourselves in this fantastic fabric. I really wanted to bring the outdoors in, so I selected a fabulous soft color from Benjamin Moore and just bathed all of the trim work, the ceiling, everything in this green so that it, one, spoke very well to our Sewn Britain textile, but again brought the outdoors in to create the garden-like feel.
I love creating a moment with the bed, and a lot of times that involves maybe a canopy of some sort. So in this room, I chose to basically surround all four corners with this wonderful textile from Cowton & Tout on the inside, and then a Schumacher on the outside. I selected reds and blues to pull from our sewn Britain wallpaper, but I put the blushy red on the inside because I felt like when you're in there, this blushy red is just gonna bathe your skin in this wonderful glow, and who wouldn't want to feel fabulous while laying in bed and napping or reading? You feel like you're just encased in wonderful coziness, and it makes it very easy for resting. So a lot of times we'll create a great bed moment with a canopy.
Hi, my name is Scott Sanders, and my firm's name is Scott Sanders LLC, based in New York and Palm Beach. People describe my work as inviting, comfortable, approachable. There's days that we do lots of color, certain projects are very colorful, other ones are very muted, so it's really just about creating spaces that you want to be a part of. Things that you're always going to see in my projects is probably the color blue, rattan and bamboo. Vintage pieces are very important, and we do love stripes. Welcome to my room. It's the family room. We are calling it the Palm Beach Story. We are celebrating all fabulous things that are Palm Beach. Rattan, wicker, bamboo, lucite, chrome, blue of the ocean, mixed vintage pieces and modern pieces. There's a lot of pattern, but then the walls and the carpet are basically the same ground of light blue, which gives it a cohesive feel, and then all the other things sort of pop off of it. We skim coated the stone, and then once we skim coated, then we wallpapered. And we did a really beautiful Philip Jeffries grass cloth, and that started to sort of warm up the room. And then we added the layer of the rug, which again, you know, added another sort of level of warmth. I wanted one incredible standout piece, and I was thinking, oh, you know, the ceilings are really high, it needs to be a really big piece. And Gablack Gallery is one of my favorites, and they represent an artist by the name of Lisa Ann Auerbach. And she did this collection of incredible knitted pieces, and it's library books, something that would be funny and interesting people would talk about, and then it was nice because it balanced our bookshelf, which is across on the opposite side of the room.
I'm David Frazier. Our firm is David Frazier, and we're based in New York City. I think people describe our work as a kind of blend of both classical and modern styles. A handful of projects in New York City that range from pied-à-terres to kind of full floor loft apartments. We always have a good antique, usually, you know, kind of classical English or French wood furniture. If a client's game for it, usually some sort of like taxidermy or natural curiosity. This is a hallway or family entry that leads onto the laundry room and a powder bath. When we first saw this space, we had like a natural stone baseboard, stone cornice that we decided to paint just to lengthen the walls. A very unattractive door that went to the garage here that we decided to cover with the drapery and create a vignette. And I think the most kind of dramatic before and after is here in the laundry room. This space was inspired by Palm Beach, so the neoclassical elements, the medallion, the busts, done in a little bit more contemporary, clean way, and the patterns and the fabrics and the textures that we used. It's a fairly tight, you know, nondescript space. So one thing we wanted to do is to almost treat it like it was, you know, this cabinet of curiosities, 18th century engravings and the brackets with the coral displayed. One thing that was really important to us was to have a great line of sight that didn't feel like a dead end. So we, you know, created this kind of serpentine screen that sort of cradles the bust and pedestal. In this space, we chose this really great Benjamin Moore chocolate brown paint. It's actually called bittersweet chocolate. In a small space, if you paint it dark, it actually does feel bigger and has more depth and more interest. We're in the laundry room. Our starting point was this beautiful acanthus leaf fabric from Sewn. We're typically not big pattern designers. We chose one pattern on the walls, skirted below the counter, and acts as the drapery too. We actually kept the existing base cabinets, skirted it to create more storage, conceal the washer and dryer, provide storage. It conceals kind of all the junk, the existing millwork here, and also just to kind of soften it and make it more interesting than regular millwork. We did replace the countertops with this beautiful soapstone and created a ledge for display or also for storage.
I'm Danielle Rollins. I am based in West Palm Beach and New York. My firm is Danielle Rollins Interiors and Home. We have a home shop on Georgia Avenue and a new pop-up concept that we do weekly, changing artisans and vendors. And we opened in December and it has been a runaway hit. I am known for interiors that are sinfully comfortable, that have luxe layers and beautiful soft lighting. I have done projects in Italy, Doha. I have done them from San Francisco to New York. I am particularly happy to be based in South Florida now. I'm a have job, will travel kind of girl. So we envisioned this as a place that you could come in for a post-swim nap, have cocktails. We started with a beautiful Angelo D'Anghia armoire that we turned into my now signature barmoire. And we changed the inside configuration to make a very luxe layered bar. I'm a good drinker, what can I say? I think it's great to have a piece that gives scale to a room with height, and I like a well-stocked bar, but I like one that's very, very organized. We designed this acrylic and cane bar tray based on one that I had seen in Christian Dior Home, done by Doris Brenner in the 70s. And we recreated it. It's shoppable. In fact, everything in the bar is shoppable, so anything you see in here is available on my website. To me, the inside of the bar more is a mini room. Oftentimes, I don't have the wall space that I need, and I have a lot of art. I like living with it, and so we put an Irving Penn piece in here with a photograph from a local photographer and friend of mine. We have a few Helmut Newton pieces up at the top, and I like stacked art. I think they give some kind of warmth and depth and texture. And then we had two really beautiful Enrique Garcel coconut lacquer husked tables that we made into a console, and then we commissioned this massive seashell mirror, and you can see it in pictures, but until you see it in person you really cannot judge the scale of it. Some of the seashells are as large as my head, and it is 9 feet tall by 5 feet wide. So it was a feat. This artisan made it for us. It took her 6 weeks. It took 6 men to get this in. And to me, it was sort of the wow moment when you walk in, which I think every room needs to have one thing that when you walk in, it takes your breath away. And then the rest of the layers should unfold themselves to you. So we introduced a new fabric. It's a batik print that I designed. It's called Carlisle, named after my middle child. And I think it's really beautiful. It's based on an antique batik print that I had seen and had it reimagined digitally and really put in the layers. And I think it really captures the feel of the room. And we also did only that one print in here. And I like doing one print in a room. It's an instant pull together and it makes things look neat and crisp.
My name is Katie Ritter, and the name of my firm is Katie Ritter Inc. My office is based in New York City. People describe my work as comfortable, practical, colorful, unexpected. Use a lot of craft in what I do, a lot of artisans. That's really important to me. Embroidery is very important to me. Custom furniture, shapes that you don't see. This room that we are sitting in right now was a white box with purple velvet curtains. I started with the wallpaper, and then from there I went to the carpet, an antique carpet, and that was a set size. So I had to decide pretty quickly on the carpet. I added a lot of floral fabrics, rattan, things that people thought of when you're in a tropical place like Florida. I wanted something living. I've got my tree. I wanted a lot of tactile elements. Velvet, but a very flat velvet, caterpillar fringe for my sofa, paint, lacquer. I wanted, a lot of different materials. I've got the water, so it's a lot of blues and greens, and so we really played up the blue and green theme with a little bit of coral thrown in, a little bit of lavender. When there's a lot of light, you can really get away with using a lot of color. I think this room feels very calm and layered and sophisticated and unexpected.
I am Honey Collins Interiors. We are in Essex, Massachusetts, but hope to be in Florida soon. I am known for mixing traditional with a little bit of modern, sometimes bold color, but I really love to create a curated interior. Each piece has a certain amount of personality and character, and I always include antiques. My mother was a designer, so I'm really inspired by her, and really this room was sort of a tribute to her. I was giving this outdoor upper balcony. It did not have a ceiling on it, so it was totally exposed. So it was very daunting in the beginning. So we covered the entire space to create a room. And so we have 3 different sections: a sitting space, a bar, and a dining space. And it's definitely, hopefully, super comfortable, but you could spend all day here if you wanted to. I think the first thing I started was the color palette. Obviously, you've got a view, which is the beautiful blue water. So this Raoul fabric was the first thing I chose and sort of worked from. It was also my mom's favorite color, aqua, so that sort of really inspired the whole space. I knew I wanted to cover the sectional in it to give a little bit of, color and texture on this side of the room. And then I love this marble that I got from Prime Stones, which I think gives sort of a masculine feel and sort of counteracts the sweetness of this fabric. The floor is a painted indoor-outdoor sisal, and it, I think, brings the entire space together. Our favorite is our mascot, Luigi, who's right there, who's an Italian grotto. And then we have a dining space all the way on the end for your breakfast or whatever, your lunch. The dining table I bought in Atlanta from an antique dealer down there, and it is an Indian piece that had originally been the dark brown that you usually see, and he bleached it. So I think that's what makes it so interesting, because you can actually see all of the textures. I think overall, I hope it feels like a space that's comfortable. Again, a mix. The magic is in the mix,
I'm Leslie Martin. I'm with M&M Interior Design, and we're based in Chicago and La Jolla. People usually describe our work as traditional with a fresh twist, approachable, and very collected. Usually in all of our projects, you'll see a bold use of color. We love wallpaper, we love texture and layering, and lots of different fun patterns and colors together. For Kips Bay Dallas Showhouse this year, we designed what we call the reading room, which is sort of a casual take on a library, a little bit more loungy. It's a huge space, it's about 1,000 square feet, but we wanted it to feel really cozy. We wanted to envelop these walls that are sort of angled ceilings, so we used an Ixol mural. The wallpaper we chose, with this vastness of the space, if we used a small repeat, it would get very busy and jarring to the eye. So we wanted something that had movement to it, and these ferns do a nice job. We added trellis work on the ceiling, which I think we're going to see a lot more of. I think it's sort of textural without being wallpaper per se, but it's a nice trick and it doesn't cost a fortune. We created multiple seating vignettes throughout the space that make it feel kind of cozy and inviting. So it can accommodate, 100 people, or it can accommodate just one person reading a book. It's larger than probably some of our first apartments. It's massive, and it just ate furniture. So the more we put in, it still needed more, and it could probably still accommodate more. This is like a 100 by 100 inch sofa, and it just kind of feels dwarfed in this space almost. Wall color on the trim work in the room is a Benjamin Moore color, and it's just very neutral. It almost feels like a light, like latte color, and it works really well on the paneled walls, which are all wood. I think it has a very inviting and cozy vibe.
Hi, my name is Ashley Cathy with Avery & Company. We're a full-scale residential design firm based in Dallas, Texas. We love to take what our client loves and make it a better version of how they want to live. In our projects, you can usually find a plaid, trimming, layers, transitional and contemporary pieces. We designed a guest bedroom suite. This is a vaulted ceiling, and we've decided to wallpaper the entire room, wrap it like it's one big cohesive space. Did a grosgrain tape trimming. From the straight vertical ceiling to where it slopes was a perfect opportunity to use a canopy bed. The sofa we chose because it is comfortable and everybody wants a lush, relaxing spot in a bedroom. A more traditional piece for the chest, and then juxtaposed it with the bedside tables, two pieces that are a little bit more contemporary. With the art, we wanted to make it more contemporary. We used photography by Stuart Cantor. The fabric on the valance and canopy is actually one of the more iconic Pierre Frey fabrics that Mario Boita used in one of his bedrooms in his iconic Prince of Chintz bedroom in Kips Bay in the 80s. The end result feels pretty and plaid, which is exactly what we wanted.
I'm Ahmed Abu Zanat. I'm with Project AZ, and we're based in New York City. People typically describe my work as joyful, elegant, and functional. For Kips Bay Showhouse, we designed the Southern Sanctuary at the end of the house, so that inspired us to make it as a personal refuge, and we're calling it the Southern Sanctuary. One of the challenges in the space was having the sloped ceiling, and this is something that could be found also in other projects. And one of the things we recommend is, to continue the same wall treatment all over. In Kips Bay, we decided that the wallpaper will cover the walls and the ceilings. We wanted to use the hints of violet color from Benjamin Moore, and it's a very soft violet color that kind of sets the mood for the space. In the main room, we used fabric art wallpaper with a metallic sheen, and the metallic sheen is what really helps bounce the light off. I fully designed this rug. I also added some floral elements and lines that guide to the different areas, and J.D. Stern produced it for us. So it starts as blues, which is inspired by skies in the ocean, and then it transitions all the way to lavenders. Part of the division of the space was, a theatrical curtain that pulls out, and that's where we have the meditation area behind it.
I'm Christina Kim. I am with Christina Kim Interior Design. I'm a designer and I'm based in New Jersey. We're known for vacation homes, beach houses, so the vibe is easy breezy. The use of natural materials, vintage. I want to keep it really cool and fun. I'm really inspired by the movies. I love the film director Wong Kar-wai. He only uses 1 or 2 colors. The mood's really sexy, romantic, and a little otherworldly. So the space I designed for the Kips Bay Showhouse is called 3 a.m. Dream. Every once in a while you get lucky and you stumble upon like a gem of a hotel or a lounge somewhere. Like, what would that look like? The next day you're a little bit like, did that really happen? I wanted it to be feminine, and I started with the custom rugs. So an ombre on the main staircase that we designed, and as far as the second floor landings, kind of turned that cool orchid stripe. had that as an ombre also, but on a diagonal. So the paint choice is really interesting. I call it a fleshy mauve. If you envelop a room in a fleshy mauve, in this example, I feel like it's really an elevated way to achieve a neutral. I can't think of a single color that won't work with it, and it seemed really feminine and elevated. I thought, you know what, surfboards are so feminine and just sort of kick-ass. The shape is just so graceful. I want to use oxblood, really sexy color. That was really the art for the space. As far as the wallpaper, I've been dying to use a wall mural by a company based in Paris called Annenbeau, and did an overscaled, really lush palm. Golden, romantic, like transportive, lush feeling is what I was going for. To really accentuate that beautiful archway is a color by Benjamin Moore called Lush. And I'm like, well, that is on theme. A mid-green that has the slightest bit of gray, maybe a little teal, depends how the light hits it, and we lacquered that up.
My name is Shelley Johnstone. I'm an interior designer from Lake Forest, Illinois, and I'm based in Lake Forest with a studio and showroom, but I do a lot of work in Florida and all over the nation. The ethos at Shelley Johnstone Design is to create beautiful, timeless spaces to be lived in and enjoyed. It's really a lifestyle. We want people to really enjoy their spaces, live in them, have their friends over, entertain, and create memories. Hallmarks and projects would probably be lacquered ceilings, white woodwork, layered antiques and fabrics. I designed this garden view study and bath at the Kips Showhouse here in Dallas. It's kind of got this beautiful garden view, so it was a little bit of an escape. So I wanted it to be very serene and a place that I could see myself in. I think the first thing I picked for the space was the ticking stripe fabric. It's kind of my signature. It's brown and white in my favorite colors, and I just love the idea of enveloping the room in this fabric and having it all over on the upholstery pieces, this understated elegance, and I think that's what ticking stripe does. So the panel behind me is really special. I worked with Cassie here, they're a local plaster company in Dallas, and I wanted it to kind of feel like a chinoiserie panel, but have depth and texture, and it has birds and flower. So I love using tape detail, where the ticking stripe fabric meets the crown molding and where it meets the baseboard. So it's a really easy thing to do, and the wall covering is actually fabric that's been paper backed. Ceiling color is this beautiful chalky pink. It has a beige tint to it. It's not too pretty, and it's a lovely color from Benjamin Moore, and it's also on the panel behind me as well. Definitely a place I would want to spend time in, and I think that was my goal.
I am Lucinda Loya with Lucinda Loya Interiors, and we are based in Houston. We work all over the place, all over the US, internationally. We're known for a couture style of aesthetic. No project looks the same. They are all different and unique to themselves based on architecture, lifestyle. When you approach modern, a lot of times people think it's cold, but I use lots of texture and other elements like that to warm the project up, and it serves us well. This may be a bedroom, but this is a destination. I wanted people to walk in this room and feel like they were somewhere special. The rug was my stepping off point. It's by Rodarte for the rug company, so 2 women designed this rug. I collaborated with Porter Tilio to create the wallpaper that would most complement this rug. I chose important colors of the rug to pull out and place on the wall. Collier chandeliers. Collier means necklace in French. So the drapes are an optical illusion. The window is offset. I did a color play with my stripes and the drapes to make it look more centered. This room is for every woman. So I decided that I would do nightstands that layered with a vanity. This is a single person's room. So I shifted the bed to the right and then incorporated the circular mirrors and just made it a little more interesting and fun. It's everything that we women are.
I'm Blair Murphy. I'm from Blair Designs in Nashville, Tennessee. I think people would describe my work as modernly traditional, typically colorful. They love the mix of patterns, that they love the color, and then they love how we mixed old and new. So I designed the mudroom, back stairwell, and landing upstairs. Figured we would use Portugal as inspiration for the space. The wallpaper it's really unique for a hand-painted wallpaper in that this ground is actually tiled. And that there's distress points, and then there's a lacquer over it. It's not like any other hand-painted wallpaper that we had seen. The name of it is Braganza. The lighting, we love the idea of pulling in plaster as another texture in here. I also love the rope detailing. So this is actually an embroidered fabric from Perry Frey, and then this fabric is from the new Miles Red collection for Schumacher. Instead of putting a traditional back on this piece, we made a cushion that we hung from the wall. We used all Benjamin Moore paint in the space. I pulled that trim color from the paper. When we moved into the powder bath, we went a few shades deeper just to complement that viola marble. Now landing upstairs, we closed in the floor up there and created a little space for Sichet. It's covered in a yellow wool, which just draped really well. It's from Fabric-Cut, and the color reminded me of some of the building facades that you'll see in Lisbon and other areas of Portugal. We went a little bit more bohemian, a little bit more contemporary up there, and also tried to mix in some more coastal textures. The overall feel of the space is tradition with a twist, bold color, bold pattern, modernly traditional.
I'm Erica Belseyworth.
I'm Ellen Hamilton.
Here we are at 145 Columbia Heights, the third Brooklyn Heights Designer Showhouse.
We have 17 fantastic Brooklyn-based or Brooklyn vibe designers, as we like to say, participating in this year's show house.
Hi, I'm Antonio Deloach. We run Antonio Deloach Designs and 45 Grand Home Furnishing and Decor. We're located uptown on the historic block in Harlem on Strivers Row. We also have an office in Los Angeles. Our firm focuses on making design and luxury affordable living. We do high-end, we do everything from a home renovation, and we say that we're frame to finish. Right now we're standing in the solarium bathroom. It's kind of like the unspoken best room in the house, I want to say. We kind of love the fact that we take a room that's the unpopular space and we make it the most popular space in the home. Brooklyn Soho House meets Ralph Lauren, little sexy vibe. The first artist is Sikes. He's an African-American artist, the series that he's just done of Black barbershops. And it is a place that we feel safe. It is a place familiar. And that kind of flows into Taylor Gartner's works of art. We met her on Instagram during 2020 in the middle of the pandemic, and immediately fell in love with her, but it wasn't about race. It wasn't about who she was. It was about her voice through art, through her living experience here in New York City. And I was like, do you have any more of those pieces from Black Lives Matter 2020? This one here is of Washington Square Park, and I absolutely love it. And the colors just kind of make the room come to life a little bit more. Flavor paper has been like amazing. The way they curate wallpaper and be able to storytell different cultural moments, different artists, and the way they bring them to life is just fun, and it brings the different elements of the room of discovery. And we love the fact that you can sit here and appreciate the wallpaper almost as artwork, but you've got everything from Biggie Smalls to Fulton Street, and there's just iconic Brooklyn in the wallpaper. You can't get better than black and white, but then to call it Brooklyn Toile kind of gives a little classy, little Parisian essence. The brown hands, they're porcelain hands. We've hand painted them brown. They kind of hold the room up. There's so many layers. We could probably sit here all day long talking about, you know, the hands that have held us all up. red and yellow beads, the African beads that they're holding, were an inspiration from Biggie Smalls' iconic Koji sweater that's like super colorful, so we pulled those colors out. And we couldn't ignore this fantastic little wardrobe that's like kind of tucked away. We've painted it matte black. We've added lighting in its interior, and we've given a little bit of a hotel-y kind of essence to it. There's a little bit of wonder, there's a little bit of mystery in the space. There was no way in my career that I could put just a basic white waffled shower curtain. Pindler said yes. We've done a luxury velvet on the bottom, corresponding it with a leather band, an orange welt, and a beautiful pinstripe. So we absolutely love that. The end result of this project is fun, it's sexy, it's intimate, it's iconic Brooklyn, it has a voice, which is again the reason why we're calling it #SeeMe. There's an underlying little political message, but there's also a sense of luxury.
My name is Megan Camp, and my firm is Megan Camp Interiors, based in Brooklyn, New York. We create fresh, modern spaces that mix the traditionalism found in New York City and the East Coast with the freshness found on the West Coast, in California specifically. The goal of this room was to bring in color, softness, warmth. This is the top of the house. It's the modern wing of the house. I brought in a lot of antique pieces into this modern white box setting, and it offsets, again, the cold lines with the warmth and patina of the antiques. So when you come up the stairs, you're instantly hit with this sunlight, and it's a completely different vibe than the rest of the house. It's light, it's airy. This table came from City Foundry, which is an antique and vintage store in Brooklyn, New York. This is the focal point when you turn that corner and you come into the space. But again, you can take all of this off, pull up the chairs, and have dinner, have a coffee in the morning. This is a gorgeous mirror from Salt Lizard, who is an antique store in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. This mirror you'll see, I mean, there's imperfections, but in a weird way, those imperfections and crusty antiques elevate a space. It actually makes it feel more expensive. The pendant light fixtures are from Circa, which is one of our favorite lighting vendors. They have so many different options at different price points. We worked with them to pull these lanterns, which are a great way of pulling the outdoors inside. These are actually damp rated, so they can go outside, but they can also go inside. This is a classic mid-century design. It's called the Swoon chair, and we pulled this from Flair in 200 Lex. They have a great mix of modern, but very traditional mid-century pieces that are still being produced today. One of my favorite elements in this room are these antique lithographs that we found. They are of eggs, they're of bird eggs, and every single one is hand-colored. They are so precious and so delicate and so thoughtful that we framed them, and they tie the old world of this townhouse into this new modern wing. A design challenge in this room were these really awkwardly shaped walls on either side of the fireplace. So what we did is we took a grouping of one type of artwork and we created a grid on either side of the fireplace, and what it does is it joins these two awkward spaces together and it creates one whole focal point. And anyone can do this. It can be any type of art, just the same type of art displayed in a grid-like pattern. Also, the grid pattern is repeated on the carpet. We partnered with Crosby Street Studios to cover basically all of the flooring in this room. It starts on the 4th floor landing, goes up the stairs into this room, up the stairs to the terrace, and it's this grid pattern that is repeated in the antique lithographs and also outside on the terrace. We have trellises that we've painted and adhered to the walls. The shade store worked with us on this, but they also, and one thing people don't know is they just started making pillows. We worked with them to create these really big, wonderful lumbar pillows, which are displayed on the bench seating. It ties the room together because the pattern is on either side of the room. The end result of this project is fresh, it's classic, it's timeless, but it doesn't feel heavy or stuffy. It feels like a space that you can come and take a deep breath and relax.
I am interior designer Katie Reed from Katie Reed Interiors. Our clients hire us to design over-the-top, elegant, sophisticated spaces. Anything from kids' rooms to living rooms to sitting spaces to commercial spaces. This is a home that was built in the 1800s. I really wanted to accentuate and play off of the architecture while still having modern accents. I started off with this wallpaper from Flavor Paper, and it was just like an ode to Brooklyn. So what I imagined this space was to be like a visual guest book of the people that have wined and dined with the homeowner. So you get some few pops of celebrities around. And just a simple console table where you could come in, drop your keys off, drop your mail, which takes you to the elegant sitting room. In this space here, I worked with Bold Concept, which was my main sponsor, to bring this vision to life. I partnered with Bold Concept just because of their contemporary lines and their distinct features. They really help bring that contemporary modern vibe. They're a great brand to check out. They're located in the city and they have tons of other stores around the United States. This is a boucle, but it is protected, whereas though you could be casual enough to spill a wine over and you won't have to kick your friend out. The wall sconces, as well as this cabinet. I thought these were great grounding pieces and they were kind of sort of like my jewelry and accents of the room. The Buddhas, the Chinese water jars, those are from a great friend of mine who recently passed away by the name of Sandra Long. She had a shop called Anglo-Raj Antiques and she helped teach me the fine art of curating antiques. So I really wanted to make sure that her contribution, her celebration was shared in this space as well. This ended up being a work of art from the planning process to all the fabulous collaborations I got to connect with. Although it's elegant, you want to have some sophistication, but it's still casual enough where you can enjoy a good conversation and hanging out with friends.
I'm Melinda K Design. Welcome to the laundry. Being a millwork specialist, creating that as my niche means basically that any cabinetry, paneling, specialty treatments, space planning, layouts that have to do with built-ins are really my world and my asset. Clients would probably describe my work as luxury living. There's the concept of beauty, but with necessity. When I was approached to maybe consider the laundry room, there were some things in here that had to be addressed. That doorway had to be moved. I really wanted to get a U shape out of the space. So just really have a lot of flexibility with the room, but then also to say, you know what, come see my laundry. Washer and dryer are still here. I never moved them. That was the easy part. So I left them here. They're hidden behind the doors so that we don't really have to think about them too much. Things that are utility, like the electrical panels, are hidden behind these gorgeous black mirrored features. I decided to have the hanging rod in here. I had to deal with certain things. There's a lint trap. There's all kinds of function in here that I had to make beautiful, so I sprayed it with a metal finish that worked a little bit better with the room. Custom tops. Everything in here is intended to have sort of a dual purpose. So yes, there's a sink, but we can also add this in as another folding surface. We really need to fit out the entire space and make it so that we get standard full depth use out of it. You can still fit your cleaning products in here and anything that's not necessarily pretty, but there's plenty of space to hide it. The stone is very special. It's a honed petite granite. It's actually hundreds of years old. The reason it was selected is because of the variation in the stone. There's rolling carts, so I wanted to give you a designated area that wasn't necessarily dirty clothes, but you are hanging delicate items in here. Let's say you're washing them and you're treating them right on this desk. All of your materials are in here. You find a hole, you sew it because all of the materials in here that you need. So I just wanted to give you a designated workspace that was beautiful, but also necessary so that it didn't climb over into all the other functional areas. A lot of my own blood, sweat, and tears has gone into this space and the incredible team working with me. And it is a dramatic, moody laundry room that you just want to be in.
Welcome to the Kips Bay 2023 Dallas Showhouse.
I'm Meg Joanides with MLK Studio.
And I'm Christine Page with Jackson Page Interiors. 22 designers each took a room and designed the space to their creative vision.
Come on in.
We designed the entryway and the formal powder room. We were inspired by the old growth trees and the exterior color of the house. We wanted to create a verticality in this room in order to elevate the ceilings and create a really beautiful, warm environment as you enter.
We started with the walls to carry the concept up 2 levels. So we wanted to do this hand-painted organic patterning on the walls to help disguise the irregularities of the room.
A lot of our furniture pieces came from showrooms within the Dallas region, and one piece here is this beautiful chandelier from Emily Lamardley, and we sourced it through Guard. And we love how it helps bring the upstairs down and connects the 2 different levels. These particular pieces are discs by Christopher Martin, and they're acrylic.
We feel like it envelops you when you first walk into the space, and we love the continuity between the outside color and how it carries through to the inside.
My name is Kurt Belowski. My company is More Design Build. I'm based in Dallas, Texas. I have the kitchen and scullery here at the Kips Bay Showhouse, Dallas. I knew I wanted this to be based on the idea that this is an old European country farmhouse, and I'm salvaging the kitchen. So I basically started with the floor and the cabinetry. And really, I knew the floor was going to be the hero. So the cabinetry is my own design, and I actually started with the piece that's in the scullery. It's sort of based on old European kind of apothecary, and I took that and ran with it. I really worked on finding a pattern that was unique and custom, and then I worked with artistic tile to bring it to life. The scullery is a true working pantry, and people are looking for that for everything for catering and prep to just basically putting dishes away. And I wanted to do a seating area versus just another table because I think it's fun to be able to be in the kitchen and be with people. So I worked with Artistic Tile and their Tailor 2 program to come up with something that is 100% unique for really, I think, anywhere. I found this old wood floor pattern in a book, so I sent it to Artistic Tile, and we worked on different schemes. While there are several stones, I think it still raises the neutral, and I think it's going to patina and age well as well, which I think will be nice. It'll just make it feel more and more part of this kitchen. The slabs on the countertop are Calcutta Rosa from Artistic Tile. I think they really are beautiful and kind of unexpected. I mean, everyone knows white marble, but with the pink veining in here, it really gives it something special. This Calcutta Rosa is also one of the tiles that's in the custom floor. Artistic Tile is actually opening a slab gallery here in Dallas, so it's a great way, again, to be able to see slabs and compare it with tile for the floors and pull a whole look together. These are all genuine appliances. I think it's more fun to cook out than cooking toward a wall, so I always prefer to put cooking in the island so you can be part of the fun.
I'm Laura Lee Clark Falconer, and I'm a designer based in Dallas. I think I'm really known most for not having a specific look. I like to be inspired by my clients. Our room is the Cano Garden, and we really started with the wall covering. So it's a very special Gracie wall covering. It's hand painted, and it has some of my personal favorite elements. Those gilded clouds, it just adds a little glinting and glimmer. So it really set the tone for the room, and then the scheming came off of that, and then I layered in some vintage and antique pieces to add interest. I really just love the mix of the old with the new. I would say one of my favorite parts of the room is just how we layered in contemporary artwork onto this traditional backdrop. I would say this is really the star of the show. I found it at Sputnik Modern here in Dallas, and it's a Philip and Keldon Laverne table, and they were creators of beautiful bronze pieces back in the 60s. This is called the viola table. It's very rare in that typically their tables are not perforated with a design like this. So I just loved the foliage, and the story behind it is just amazing. So the rug is by J.D. Staron, and it's a wonderful combination of like a linen backing, and there's just a bit of metallic thread defining the shapes, which just gives it a little bit of shimmer. The lamps are from Porto Romano, and they have these beautiful velvet shades. That's my favorite part, are the shades. And we mimicked the rosé color from the sofa and used that color on the shades. It's also lined in a rosé silk as well. The ceiling fixture is from Urban Electric. This is a very special piece. It's a banquette that we did inspired by a Vladimir Kagan vintage design. We used fabrics on it. I love what we did with just having a bit of an accent fabric on it, which I think is really unusual for a Kagan piece.
Hi, I'm Christy Nelson, KM Nelson Design, and we're based in Los Angeles, California. I designed room 12. It's a full ensuite with a walk-in closet, bathroom, and bedroom. So let's start with the bathroom. Our bathroom is very vibrant, playful, and fun space because I truly believe that bathrooms should bring joy and you should look good in them. I wanted to show people what it was like to play with a mix of pattern, texture, and color, which I think is very important and we don't see a lot of in bathrooms. And I had the good fortune of working with the fabulous materials at Artistic Tile and with Fromm & Paul wall coverings out of Britain. First selected the Opia Nero, which is this beautiful mosaic on the floor with the brass inlay. The Art Deco influence with the color and the patterns really speaks to Marrakesh. Our Doge mosaic, which is the black and white, super graphic, and it's a nice play against the Opia Nero stunning slab, Valia Rosata, that has all of these mixed tones of pink and peach and black and gray. Then we also use Portogallo on the wall because it has a very ancient feel to it, being very matte. And then of course we have all of our beautiful brass details. I wanted to create a visceral moment of transferring into a different place and time. The drawn back curtain, almost like you're entering a tent and having a very exotic experience. Benjamin Moore paints fixture by Soane Britton that just sets the place apart. So the colors we used to create the ombre effect on the ceiling were tea rose, which is the pink, and that is a defining feature of the whole space. And then we have Grant beige, and then a metallic at the very bottom where we connect to the wallpaper to create that shimmer and that atmospheric feeling, which is very important when you're doing an ombre. You don't want to just have flat transitions. It has to feel very atmospheric. And this is a great example of what that is.
I'm Jace Jones, and I'm with Jace Jones & Associates based out of Dallas. I really don't have a style, and I pretty much just try really hard to give the client what they want with a little bit of a flair or a little bit of a take. The space I have in the show house is the bar, and I've entitled it Liquid Library. I knew I needed a black. So I went to Artistic Tile, and they had this amazing Empire Nero. We had the luxury of picking out what we put in the center of it. I chose a brass. You can, if you want, use a stone or a glass or any type of material you want, but I chose brass. My next thing to choose was the countertop, and I was thrilled to find something that had light and dark and warm tones, cool tones. Actually, every color is presented in here. Calcutta Picasso is a slab from Artistic Tile. The mural is actually by Pierre Frey. It is actually in France. It looks almost Italian. I was really proud of the installation team who kind of created our pattern. The fridge is leather, and it is brand new this year by Jen Eyre. The best thing about it, the interior is red, a deep, rich red. It is cozy, and the ceiling is only 8 feet tall. Luckily, Artistic Tile had this mirrored tile that is rectilinear, antiqued, and it's called Charleston. I'm thrilled with the end result of the space because I think it marries a bunch of different products, a bunch of different textures, colors. It is dark and rich and moody and kind of contemporary, but there's still a warmth of traditional, hopefully sprinkled in there.
My name is Darren Hinault. I have a firm called Darren Hinault Interiors, and I'm based in New York, but I also have a store upstate New York in Amelia. What I'm most known for is layered, textured, lots of pattern, lush and sophisticated. The room that we're in is a guest bedroom. Being Dallas, it's a very large guest bedroom. I started with the tray ceiling. We were going to tint the ceiling with something super inexpensive. It's a ticking from Count & Tout, great quality. Not everything has to be high-end, but everything has to be a certain quality. I was lucky enough to walk into Fromental, which is a UK company that does hand-painted wallpaper on a tussa silk. It's very striated. It gives it sort of a broken up feeling. I went into Gracie because it's one of my all-time favorite places. They digitally print this on fabrics. So they were excited to have me use that. I thought it was beautiful with the wall covering. My dad owned textile mills, and when I was a kid, I had to work in the dye labs and really learn about color. So this blue to me that was on here, it is screaming out for that color. So there was my color palette. And then there was a really pretty Jack Leonard Larson fabric, another favorite of mine, also from Count & Tout, that has those two colors combined as well. And then honestly, the rest of the room came together in about 10 minutes. I was lucky enough to have Artistic Tile as my sponsor for this bathroom. I've known about Artistic Tile for ages. I was really lucky enough about 20 years ago to sit next to Nancy Epstein at a dinner, and I just loved her. Personally, I don't care if I was 10 or 90. I don't want to see 7 million colors behind me in a mirror when I'm stark naked. I like a neutral. So the Arabescato is a neutral, but it's got a lovely little bit of gold to it. It's got good movement. It has all of that texture. And then furthermore, they had the Arabescato in slab. They had the Arabescato in a grooved tile. And being the clever soul that I am, I took the Arabescato and cut it and created the baseboard. I created the crown, and then I created the casing around the windows and the frame around the mirror. So you really only have 2 or 3 materials in here. It's an incredibly simple bathroom, but the different use and positioning and directioning of all of the different patterns or textures is what gives it so much depth. And the Belvedere is like dark and it's dramatic, and the veining is super contrasty. And it's not ordinarily something I would put at eye level, because to me in a bathroom it's a little much to look at. But I thought it was a great foil for the Arabescato, and it just gave it a little more glamour. Micro mosaic in the Arabescato, it was a great idea in the shower stall because it gave you good traction on the floor for slipping, but using it on the ceiling gave you a little bit of glitz. Fixtures are hard, The tile and stone is hard. So I just repeated that same super soft, super elegant, really pretty, very feminine window treatment in here. It's a room, part of a bedroom, rather than this kind of random isolated place where you bathe.
My name is Dan Houchard, and my firm is From the Ground Up. We are based here in Dallas, Texas. We are known for designing and installing classic American gardens with a bit of whimsy that people love to spend time in. We have the rear garden at the Showhouse, and we really wanted to create a space with a bit of whimsy, a bit of wonder, kind of a throwback to childhood. This is the terrace, and we refer to this as the foyer of our space. So we have it laid out classically with a pedestal table and ottomans from McKinnon & Harris, and a cozy little seating area, also McKinnon & Harris, with lanterns by Hector Finch. And it's a great introduction to the garden with an amazing view, great light, and close to the fountain. Come with me and I'll show you the other spaces. We wanted to create an immediate viewpoint from the house in the garden and give great sound if you're sitting on the terrace. Also, we wanted to give a focal point, the moon gate, that will draw you out into the garden. This is an 18th century French limestone trough that we sourced through Pathé Architecturals, and we've turned it into a water feature. We chose the plantings because we wanted something that was going to be lush and full. The water feature and the stone path around are very linear, so we wanted something to soften those lines a little bit. So this is the dining entertaining space in the garden. So we created this steel structure that's circular. You'll see this circular pattern repeated throughout the garden. We worked with sculptor Larry Whiteley to create this incredible light fixture that just glows at night. And he also created a checker set for us as well that's on the table. Brown Jordan, we worked with to design this custom kitchen that has all the appliances hidden behind, but you can have a great bar to serve from this side or bartenders on the other side for a larger event. Also adding to the whimsy in the garden are these antique concrete mushroom sculptures that we sourced out of England, and they just kind of add a little bit of whimsy and fun to the garden. So when we created this space, we did these large mounds of cloud boxwoods to really frame and define the focal point areas, destinations for seating. But along the way, the biggest stretch is this stretch. So we added a McKinnon & Harris bench here for a place to rest along the way, and another concrete mushroom sculpture just to keep it company. So we're standing here in the woodland garden, and we created this moon gate behind me to really be a transitional portal between the Great Lawn and the woodland seating area. And so you'll see these mirrored seating groups from Sutherland and with perennials fabrics. That's just a great entertaining space in the shade.
Welcome to the 48th Kips Bay, New York Decorator Showhouse.
We have a mansion that's kindly lent to the foundation, and these designers come from all over the country and they show their stuff at the Showhouse. So each room is a different designer, and we welcome you to come on in and check it out.
I'm Christy Ohlendorf. I'm Interior Design Director at Yellow House Architects.
And I'm Haley Fazio. I transition between interior design and architecture at Yellow House Architects.
For this year's Kips Bay Decorator Showhouse, we have the entry foyer to the second floor staircase. the powder room, and the elevator vestibule. So we drew inspiration from Julia Marlowe, the first owner of the house. The house dates back to 1904. She's a famous actress.
We know a lot of Shakespeare's whimsy and fantasy, so we brought that into our room with all of our different pieces.
One of the first elements of the room that we really wanted to nail down was the center fixture here. And we loved this piece for how organic, whimsical it is in nature, the airiness of it.
So it's a chandelier by Nacho Carbonell. And so he has a lot of this twisted living branches. And so again, it's bringing in, you know, that feel of a Midsummer Night's Dream. We found this amazing glass by this atelier named Atelier Emmanuel Barrois. It's called Black Water. And so we've been told by people that it brings this level of fantasy to the room because they think that they can almost stick their hands right through it.
This is the powder room off the entryway. We really wanted to create a jewel box of a powder room with a lot of impact. So it started with this Abri grass cloth wallpaper that's printed in panels to size. And then if you come in here, you'll see this piece that we collaborated with to create. So it's a sconce in the back from Tierra Bell, and then we created the mirror to hang in front of. So after the dark and moodiness of the foyer, we wanted to bring light to the staircase.
We commissioned Mark Uriu of Uriu Nuance to create this swirling, airy plasterwork that kind of carries everyone up into the house.
And we finished it off with a custom rug and runner by Rug & Killam.
My name is Keisha Franklin. I'm the CEO and principal designer of Halden Interiors. I'm based in Montclair, New Jersey. I had the pleasure of designing the den in this historic mansion, and it is titled Heart of the Vine. So the vision for the room was to really kind of encapsulate nature. And so we were very intentional with all these beautiful shades of green that you see, taking you from this hunter green into olives, into chartreuse. And one of the main kind of grounding design elements is this beautiful carpet that I designed with the rug company. When you see it, you'll see that it's a very abstract pattern of a vine with very detailed veining. And so we're so excited to be able to implement this element throughout the space. So the rug company is amazing. I've actually loved working with them because they're like family. Quality of their rugs are very high end, and also just the design elements feel like art. And so my clients really love that element, and so do I. I have so many favorites in the room. One of them has to be all the beautiful lighting, and to talk about these amazing sconces by Feyza Kimilaglu. She's a designer from Istanbul, and this meerschaum texture was actually very serendipitous because it also mimics the pillars in the front of the house. When I came upon this amazing piece by Peter Hugo, which is represented from Yossi Milo Gallery here in New York City, I just knew that this had to be the piece alone, all by itself. But it's a huge staircase, so how do we make this piece kind of expand? And the expansion of that was to then extend the meadow, right? So that when you come onto the staircase, ascend and descend, you literally feel like you're a part of this intense experience that you see on these beautiful young boys.
I'm Neil Beckstead. I'm owner of Neil Beckstead Studio, and we're based in New York City. We were assigned the wine room, which we turned into the drawing room. The nature of our space being very small and petite lent itself to be a place of solitude, and we ran with that to create a place for the owner, who I envisioned to be an architect or a designer, to really come and close the door and have his solitude to draw and to unwind. One of the first moves we did was change the floor. The floor was a hideous porcelain tile, which had to go. So we used the opportunity to do a really powerful, dynamic statement. We worked with Artistic Tile to take one of their small mosaic and supersized it out of these 3 different stones, which also then set the color palette. The color palette plays off the emerald tile and the blush warm tones of the stone. It carries itself through the Claremont stripe, the teal and the navy stripe, to the Swedish patina armoire, to the emerald screens. You can even see it in the French chairs, and all that's mixed with furniture from different styles, whether it's French or Swedish or American. It's just this assemblage of beautiful items. Overall, it works very comfortably together, and it's a sense of warmth and ease.
I'm Wesley Moon. Wesley Moon Inc. is my company. We're based here in New York City. And I have the honor of being the first designer to do the kitchen in Kips Showhouse. It's always usually a kitchen company. So I was able to design everything, even the cabinet profiles down to the smallest detail. And my mill worker, top-notch mill worker, built this for us in just a matter of weeks. It's an amazing accomplishment. You'll see some of the before pictures there. There was literally no molding, no details. The fireplace was exposed brick. I wanted it to feel like a room and not a kitchen. So I imagine that when this house was built, the kitchen would have been in the basement. So it was kind of the idea that at some point they brought the kitchen up and retrofitted an existing room, but they didn't want to like interrupt the vibe of that room. So that's how we get this space, and we installed these plaster moldings that are by Hyde Park Molding, using two frieze details that we put on, one on the ceiling and one on the wall, and it creates this amazing molding that could have originally been in the house. We used wood floors to keep that warmth and keep that more of a room feeling, and then kept the fireplace and just used this beautiful mantle from Marmy stone. And then if you walk around, you can see we have these amazing appliances that were donated to us by Jennair, but I promptly hid them and did everything to be integrated and built in. The hood over the range is also a concealed unit that we clad in drywall and then did a plaster detail with stone. I got Lapola Designs to do this hand plaster finish here on the doors. It's also a plaster finish that's on the hood. So the island, I wanted to feel like it's a freestanding sort of piece of furniture, but because we did wood on the floor, I wanted to do the tile on the island. So Ann Sachs donated this beautiful tile with this louver detail. It's actually the same tile that is on the backsplash, only with this texture. So using this texture and these little pencil tiles, we were able to create this detail around the island that just makes it super interesting and unique. So over here, I created what would be a modern version of the butler's pantry. You would always have a butler's pantry with a china cabinet in like a home of this age. But in this case, I filled it full of contemporary ceramics. And then over here, we created a bar moment, this amazing Christophe Combe cabinet from Christina Dural's gallery. And I wanted it to be light and airy. Originally we considered a bar cart, but after seeing this cabinet, I was like, that's the one. Like, it's just so sculptural and beautiful. Definitely where I'd want to make a drink. And then over in this corner is where we have our lounge, breakfast. Like, you can use it any time of the day. It'd be great to have your paper and your coffee here in the morning, or just hang out in the evening and have that cocktail.
Hi, I'm Shanna Gatanis. Come on in. This is our room 15 in this year's 2023 Kips Bay Designer Showhouse. We have an amazing ornaire closet that we partnered with Louis Vuitton. And we also flew up a street artist from Orlando, Florida for this amazing piece here, Gaspari Lighting. Please come on into this odd-shaped corridor. As you enter this space, we really wanted clients to feel completely excited and invigorated with the space and the color. We brought in the artistic tile layered Nero Marquina with a fun color palette that we brought into the floor as well. And then we partnered with Andrea. She is a lighting designer from Brooklyn, and she created this amazing piece that really twists the brain of what lighting can do from the ceiling all the way down the walls. We definitely think we nailed the end result. After only 6 weeks of turnaround time and over a 100-year-old property, we wanted the space to be dramatic and inspiring and happy. And I think everybody that walks through here, when I see them go, wow, we know we kind of did something on the right path.
Hi, I'm interior designer Sasha Bykoff from Sasha Bykoff Interior Design. We are in the primary bedroom of the 2023 Kips Bay, New York City Showhouse. The vibe of this room is my teenage Y2K era fantasy reincarnated into adult Decorator. I got started in this room with the bed. It was kind of the first place I really wanted to start since this is the bedroom, and I knew I had to have a clamshell bed. And so I worked with furniture designer John Pump to develop this iridescent, inflatable looking clamshell bed, kind of evoking the early 2000s era. I really wanted to do clouds, and so we developed this pastel Candyland dreamlike cloud scene, and we actually printed it on gold leaf. The chandelier above me is for my 2019 collection with Versace. I knew I had to have this chandelier in the space. It's a crystal ship with all these beautiful pastel colors, and the idea was that I wanted it to feel like you were sailing into the sun. To complete our bed, I made beautiful custom bedding with Ebron. It's my ode to Mariah Carey with the butterflies. The pink faux fur vegan fabric is actually a rug from Stark. This carpet is my collection with rug art. It's called Wavy, and we did it in an array of pastel colors to match the wallpaper. We are currently at the glam station at my room in Kips Bay, and we actually fully installed this area. It started with this beautiful pink onyx. I love pink onyx. I knew it was the perfect stone for the glam station that we sourced from Artistic Tile. Then came our Hollywood mirror lights, and we put actually a pink mirror inside for that beautiful, beautiful glow that that pink gives you. And then of course we needed a director's chair and beautiful accessories from Ebron. Behind us we have this beautiful damask fabric, which is very 18th century Rococo Marie Antoinette with custom door handles that I made with S.A. Baxter. The end result of the room feels like a complete fantasy. It's Y2K era, it's 18th century France, it's all these beautiful, inspired, creative things pulled together. I hope you enjoyed it.
Kips Bay.
Kips Bay Showhouse.
This is our 4th year doing
Kips Bay. This is now my 2nd time.
Welcome to the 49th annual Kips Bay Decorator Showhouse, benefiting Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club here in New York City. Come on in.
My name is Kit Kemp, and I'm from the Kit Kemp Design Studio. Clients describe my work as someone who hates beige. We love colour and think that colour spices up your life and makes you feel happy. And our room, more than anything else, should be joyful. We're in the dining room at Kips Bay, and I've been lucky enough to make a jewel-inspired dining room. But because we're English, we're taking you into the English countryside. But not only that, we're reintroducing you to Virginia Woolf, Duncan Grant, and Vanessa Bell. So Tess Newell has painted the fireplace here, which actually is taken from Duncan Grant's artist studio. So you have the wonderful caryatids either side of the fireplace. We've taken the soft yellow wash over the wall, but it's also been a wonderful example for me to show off the newest creations that we've made for Kravit and GP&J Baker. We've done a fabric collection which involves embroideries, prints, wallpapers, weaves, and you can see here at the back of the chair we have Knight's Tale, which is basically from the 1920s, a wonderful ancient print, but now it's been reinvigorated in new colours. And on the front we have Bunty, which is one of the weaves that we've done, which is also embellished with these lovely bright stripes. It's a layered room, and on the table we're using Spode, which is a glorious design called tall trees with lovely gold edging. The flowers make a beautiful centerpiece to the table, but then little sort of bright counterpoints of orange, which we're using on the candles and on the Tom Faulkner gorgeous fender around the fireplace. We also do collage, and on the back of the wing chairs, Bazia, a Turkish artist, has painted and collaged beautiful flowers for us. And if you're strong enough and bold enough and you use scale and pattern in the right way, it's a very welcoming and joyful room. So we've used on the wall front row, and front row is actually coming from a Gujarati design which is in part of northern India, and it's an old fabric that we found, but it was faded. And how often have we wanted to use a found fabric but not able to use enough of it to cover a wall or even cover a chair because it's either burnt or frayed? What we like to do with our chairs is just something very different. We always just put a little pocket in the side, because I know you can put your newspapers in there. If you've lost your television remote or you can't find your reading glasses, it's a lovely place to put it. And I don't like things to look too grand, so we could have chosen a very glitzy chandelier, but at the end of the day we've chosen these very outsized, fabulous basket lamps by Julian Chichester, and then just added wonderful embroidered leaves coming down over the table. And what it means is it softens the room, it gives it a very organic feel, and for that reason our artworks have a very grand scale to them, but they are all about craft. We have Kiki Lopez, the wonderful huge mirror over here. So always thinking about the comfort as well as the good looks and the shape of the furniture in the room.
I'm Lucinda Loya. I am based in Houston and New York. My firm is Lucinda Loya Interiors. My clients often call on me to do something more couture style because they know I'm thinking out of the box. This is the powder room, and I wanted to keep that organic feel and have a collaboration of wallpaper coming out with flavor paper, and this is one of my patterns. It's called Rift, and it's very nicely coordinated with my rug from the rug company called Ripped. I love the whole neutral, high contrast effect going all through my space. Flavor paper surprised me with this flavor paper by Lucinda Loya, hidden secret on the wall with a black light. So I turned to Cosentino to make this custom design that I had come up with to work in my space, and it is made of Decton with a black grout inlay. We integrated the sink, and it's very sophisticated and goes along with the space. I also did this puddle rug with stark carpet, and inside the powder room you have an experience to enjoy Scott Eaton's video art of two people dancing, kind of morphed together, and it's very organic as well.
We are Amon and Meeks. I'm Jim Amon.
And I'm John Meeks. We're based in New York. We're known for doing high-end residential and commercial work.
Most of our clients are art collectors. Our palettes tend to be a little more neutral to kind of give a backdrop to the artwork.
We're fortunate enough to get the living room, which is the largest room.
While giving it an edge, hence calling it the tailored edge, we still wanted it to reflect our work.
The Laverne table behind us was a custom Laverne table done in the early 60s, and it's very unusual. This table was done by a good friend of ours, Ann Peabody. It's all back painted glass, and it represents a koi pond looking down. And in the background is also a good friend of ours, Beth Kettleman. She's a porcelain artist.
It's the first time that Beth worked in black porcelain. It's always been white. She was a little reluctant, but she was very pleased with the result. An important element that we always try to incorporate is the old and the new. We always mix antiques with kind of a clean palette. 10 years from now, this room will still look fresh and great.
Hi, my name is Katie Rogalski, and I am Senior Designer at St. Charles, New York. St. Charles, New York is a 90-year-old brand, and we do custom cabinets. So kitchens, dressing rooms, libraries. This is our 4th year doing Kips Bay, and we did this beautiful kitchen. What we were trying to do is create something that was transitional. So you have more traditional elements. So for example, this is an inset cabinet. You do have exposed hinges, so that's a really traditional element. However, you've got that glossy look to it, which is more contemporary. And also then the hinges, they are square and they are recessed into the cabinetry. So that's actually something that's designed and proprietary by us. So we were really trying to create something that was that amalgam between traditional, but also had a twist to it. All of the stone here is from Cosentino. It is Decton. So the countertops and backsplashes are all made to look like a marble. And then this ribbed material is also by Decton. And so we were trying to choose really soothing tones so that the cabinetry would really pop. This absolutely magnificent Maestro Bonnet range. It's made in the south of France, and we sell these as well. And you have all these different methods of cooking. So this is about people gathering together, whether it's a family cooking together or it's a bunch of private chefs that you have in your house. You can have someone working the French chop, the induction, the La Plancha. You've got gas cooktops over here. So it's all about cooking food and gathering together. Just thinking about all the colors and making something welcoming was really fun. All of the copper pots are by Amoretti Brothers, and we really love the connection of that copper with the blue. We really could think about every single different way, and that just makes it more, I think, inviting and exciting.
My name is Alan Tanksley. I'm based in New York, and my company is called Alan Tanksley Incorporated. I don't like madness, so it's very tailored. So I love layers, I love history, I love a story. Well, this is a room that I was given as a family room or breakfast room. I call it the club room. I really wanted a destination that felt nurturing, layered. This hand-foiled gold background paper resonates, and the whole room came into focus for me. There's so many objects in this room. There's so much to look at, and for me, they all have stories. I could go into any one of these objects and give you a story about where they came from and why I find it interesting. Behind me, as you can see, this is a parchment bar with that. It's a parchment with these wonderful putti dancing across it. It's from an Italian designer in the 30s. Paolo Buffa is the name. So then I started piecing it together with these Swedish chairs. What I want to do is create a dialogue, just like the objects in the room, just like the background in the room, that kind of speak to each other, you know? So there's a whole thing about balancing a room. In this case, I had the opportunity to work with some great pieces, 20th century pieces, some amazing contemporary work by artists who's blow my mind. The end result is very pleasing to me. What I wanted to do is really create a place of deep interest. And also, there's such a resonant depth to this wallpaper that you really, at night, it glows. It just is beautiful. So this is a really great example of a place I want to be.
My name is Sean Henderson. My company is Sean Henderson Interior Design, and I'm based in New York City. Most of my clients describe my work as being very serene and peaceful. My work tends to be a bit more masculine. What I tried to do here in this room was lean it into a bit more of the feminine approach, but contrast that a little bit with very masculine furniture. So hence the sort of stainless steel combined with this beautiful rosy, peachy pink. I envisioned the person occupying the room as a very strong, powerful woman, but also had a soft side to her as well. That kind of duality is very interesting to me. I did Kips Bay back in 2012, and this is now my second time. It's a real exercise in learning to adapt and pivot. I love the vignette behind me with the wing chair and the little side table over there. I have a real fondness for wing chairs of all different types. This happens to be a really rare Gioponti version from the 1950s. It came out really good. I'm really proud of the work that my team did. My vision kind of came through, and I think it really pushed the boundaries for me and using a color palette that I've never used before. And so it was fun to embrace that.
Welcome to the 49th annual Kips Bay Decorator Showhouse, benefiting Kips Bay Boys and Girls Club here in New York City. What you'll find inside are 24 beautiful rooms designed by amazing designers from all over. Come on in. I'm Lucinda Loya. I am based in Houston in New York, and my firm is Lucinda Loya Interiors. My clients usually describe my work as classic with a twist. I love being able to just go outside the bounds and come up with new ideas that haven't been seen. So this is the grand staircase, landing, and powder room that I designed for Kips Bay Decorator Showhouse 2024. I have a couple of patterns launching with the rug company, so I'm really excited about it. It is called Ripped because it's got this organic feel to it, and it can be done in any color. I wanted this to feel very elegant and sophisticated. These sculptures are done by an artist out of Germany, and she climbed on top of a tall building and poured resin around the corbels. The light fixtures are by Roland Hill and designed by Jason Miller. They are called Fiddlehead, which are baby fern. This is called Aperture, but the reason I chose it is it kind of mimics the moon and the sun, and this is more of an organic space. And at the same time, this goes really well with the space because this is a scene of upstate New York. This wallpaper is in collaboration with Flavor Paper. We worked with 18th century etchings. I think there were 80 put together to create this exact pattern for this exact space. So with the lake and the trees and the landscape and the waterfall that you see lands at the second landing, like everything was thought out thoroughly, and it took many, many weeks to put this together. So it's pretty spectacular, and I'm super proud of it.
My name is Beth Diana Smith. I own Beth Diana Smith Interior Design, and my office is based in Kearney, New Jersey. People would describe my work as colorful, eclectic, and clearly a maximalist. I have the wine lounge and the garden level corridor. The goal was I was going to do a pink wine cellar because who has a pink wine cellar? But I saw two things, black and white wallpaper, and I saw this beautiful Calicata Rosa marble from Artistic Tile, and it just felt right. So I actually redesigned my room to kind of fit these two major elements. It's so beautiful, and I love how it has variations in dimensions in that piece of marble. It has pinks, blacks, whites. It's an eyepiece just by itself. I also loved the Botanic Green Quartzite from Artistic Tile. And because I couldn't decide which one to use, I decided to use them both. When you see these two slabs together, for me, they gave me butterflies. I decided to use them in two very different ways: table, counter, backsplash. The goal was to create an impact and to show you, if you need a dining table, you don't have to go the traditional route. Create your own into something unique that you find to be your own little masterpiece. In the Calicotta Rosa, I'm using a honed finish, but for the actual table, I'm using as a polished finish. So when you take those elements, layer it against like different finishes like the oyster shell wallpaper, the grass cloth ceiling, the furry banquette, there's a lot to touch and feel. My favorite moment in the space might be the banquette, because the thought of luxuriating there all day brings me a little bit of joy. There's a really amazing art piece here from a friend and fellow designer. From the finishes to the art selection, it feels really good to be able to have worked with brands that I love. I am overall ecstatic.
I'm Michelle Gerson. I'm the principal designer and founder of Michelle Gerson Interiors, located in Manhattan, New York. I got a closet, which I then decided that I would make into a sexy bar. We used my favorite materiality, which is marble. My collaboration with Artistic Tile here on the floor, this is called Slide. It's a rectangular curved tile that slides across the floor. And we did it in Nero Marquina and Calicotta Vagli Rosata to match our cabinets, which are 75 pounds each. They each have 4 hinges, and my contractor and my fabricator wanted to kill me for designing them, but I really wanted to use marble in a way that you don't normally see marble. Modern, but neoclassical. We did a whole ribbing detail on the countertops and put a nice big chunky mitered edge. The countertops are all covered in tough skin because it's a bar and you want to be able to make drinks and make a mess. Shelving from Ammunil that lights up and houses all of your collectible glass and barware. Our walls were done by MJ Atelier. It's a hand-painted plaster. We decided to use snakes as a theme. Snakes represent so many good things. New life, regrowth. The wallpaper's just so gorgeous. It's all a hand-painted plaster, so it's 3-dimensional. I designed this space for a pretty glamorous person. Pour a martini, sit down, have a drink, maybe wear an evening gown while you're at it. People walk into this space and they're like a little surprised. Like they go, oh, I think it's unexpected. The big ideas are what make you walk in and go, wow, but the little things, the details are what keep you in a space and make you more interested. And I feel like this room happens to have a surprise in every corner. It's sort of a feast for your eyes.
My name is Philip Thomas of Philip Thomas Inc. I'm an interior designer based here in New York City with projects around the world. My company is known for its use of color as well as its use of custom products that we create for each space to tell a story that's inherently my client's story. So for the 2024 Kips Bay Decorator Showhouse, I created what I call the Andes Club, which is a nod to my childhood growing up here in New York as well as in Chile. And what really spoke to me was a fabric that I saw in Paris. It's called Vinicunca. It's by an Italian company by the name of Brochere, and it is just the most exquisite material possible. The way it's created, it just looks so modern, so contemporary, and has such energy to it that I knew that it was the right piece to be the focal point of my space. The space has no windows and it has low, only 8-foot ceilings. So it was important to create the illusion of greater height as well as depth and whatnot. So for example, on the ceiling, I did the mirror finish polished plaster, which I felt helped to have the light dance across the ceiling. The curtains draw the eye up and emphasize the architecture. I created millwork, and in the millwork, I created a record booth and a bar area using stone by Artistic Tile for my purpose. The yellow stone in the space is called Giallo Sienna, and the red is called Rosso Arobico. The mix of the two stones together actually helps you to take note of each one and makes them even more special, which I love. Stone is really Mother Nature's natural work of art, so I love to use it wherever I can and whenever I can. For the hallway portion of my space here at Kips Bay, I wanted to have it be slightly different from the main space, which is darker and more saturated. I wanted it to feel light and airy, much like you would see a hallway in a home. I just wanted it to be a departure from the main space. And so for this space, I chose this incredible metal wallpaper that captures light and reflects it, so it gives the illusion of depth and of glow. I ran the wallpaper horizontally and added contrasting strips of gold wallpaper to create a wonderful one-of-a-kind wall covering for this space where the seams are appreciated and elevated to the level of a work of art.
My name is Justin Scott and my firm is Justin Scott Interiors. We will go anywhere for a project. Quite a few in New York, the Hamptons, we've done some in Florida. So we were given his primary bath and dressing room. We wanted to make a really masculine, kind of sexy space, starting with this amazing black marble tile. So the wall tile here from Artistic Tile was the first element we chose for the entire space, and we kind of built the design around that, moving outward. Picked out a complementary slab for the floors and the countertops. With my architectural team, we designed this floating vanity surrounded by mirrors in the soffits. This is quartzite material. It's in a leathered finish, so you have some texture. It's a little less slippery. It's great for the bathroom. The shower is mostly in the slab, the Belvedere slab. We did continue the wainscoting tile on the back wall, so we could have a little shelf for shampoo. You know, I think you want to attain a certain amount of luxury, and kind of nothing is as luxurious in the bathroom as stone slab. We're in the dressing room, and we wanted to make it a clear extension of the bathroom. So we first started by bringing in the same slab material for the countertops in here. So we really wanted to make the California closet system look as custom as possible. So we used our own hardware supplied by Kohler, and then we built the crown molding from Hyde Park Moldings. All those details really add up to it feeling like a very custom, luxurious space.